Hey guys, doing a video on dosing, feeding in my SPS dominated tank here. I'm going to go through everything I do to make the tank happy, keep everybody thriving, growing, and healthy. I do want to point out I've done previous videos on dosing and feeding in my LPS dominated tank. This is an SPS dominated tank, so it's going to be a little bit different. There's going to be some ingredients that I add here that I wasn't adding to the other tank, and there's going to be stuff that I put in the other tank that I don't put in this one. So if you're looking at an SPS dominated tank, here's some great points for what you would want to do from a dosing and feeding standpoint to keep that tank healthy, thriving, and to get some great growth and color out of your SPS. All right, let's jump into dosing here. I'm going to go through what I dose into this tank. I do want to point out that I adjust my dosing numbers weekly. If you are testing more than weekly and chasing numbers, stop doing that. You're going to create more instability than you are stability. So here's what I dose. The first thing I dose is Coral-Vite. It's got just a little bit of everything. I dose 2 teaspoons a week. I know for my water volume it would recommend less, but I dose 2 teaspoons a week. Just because it's got all essential elements replacements that the corals eat up, it's got vitamin replacement, and that stuff usually is only replenished when you do your water change, which I do also do weekly, but I'll cover that later. But I want to make sure I'm keeping a good, healthy amount of vitamins and essential minerals in the tank. I also dose alkalinity. I use the Red Sea Alkalinity. I also dose Red Sea Calcium. And then I also dose the Red Sea Magnesium. All right, so where do I keep my tank? Obviously, parameters move around a little bit, but my target is calcium at 440, alkalinity 9.0, and magnesium I target 1440. All right, so let's talk about feeding corals here. I feed a few different things. I will also want to point out a note before we talk about that. Feed for the corals you have, not the water volume. That may mean sometimes you feed more. That may mean sometimes you feed less. Depends on the stock of your tank. There's kind of the overview of what I feed, so let's jump into it. Polyp Lab, Polyp Booster. The Polyp Booster, I feed 1.5 teaspoon or 1.5 milliliters twice a week. This is what I really believe pushes a ton of color in the corals with all those amino acids and fatty acids. This coral here, I got it as a bushy millie that was just green. You can see that orange coming in on the skin there. The base is really starting to color up after a little bit of time in my tank. So definitely seeing progress with this guy with that combination of Polyp Booster and Reef Roids. When it comes to the Reef Roids, again, this is going to seem heavy for a lot of people. I feed 1 teaspoon twice a week, and I mix it with 4 teaspoons of tank water. This here is the response I get when I spray my SPS with it, because yes, I do spray my SPS with Reef Roids. And so that was my forest fire there. You can see that the tentacles had retracted, or the polyps had retracted after I sprayed it with Reef Roids. And I use a dosing syringe that you can just get from your pharmacist, like a little 1 milliliter dosing syringe, kind of like a medicine syringe. Instead of a pipette, I feel like it gives me a little bit more control over where I'm putting it, and sprays a little bit easier. All right, so looking at the PE mysis that I feed here, I feed This exact one here, it is the high protein at 69%. I mainly feed this to my acanthos and my bubble coral. Although I do believe the slurry that comes in this pack with the mysis does have a lot of protein benefits from my other corals as well. Here's my acantho eating it. As you can see, once I put the PE mysis on there, you know, I have the feeding response from the polyp booster, and then I put the PE mysis on there. I put some Reef Roids right on top of it. So as the acantho consumes the mysis, it also consumes Reef Roids. I just think it gets a little extra benefit from the proteins and things and stuff that are in the Reef Roids as well as the PE mysis. So here it is. I just did a quick little time lapse of it eating as the mouth is closing. I didn't get the mouth opening. I just waited till it was fully open, consuming, and then did a few shots of it going through, closing up, consuming the mysis. So live phytoplankton, I feed 4 different strains right there. How I get those 4 different strains, I feed this product, and then I feed this product here. This is a bottle of Nano and a bottle of Tetra. So I take my bottle of Tetra, and I have my medicine doser there for measurement, and I do a little over half, so that's 15 to 20. And I do this 3 times a week. So I take that, and it gets dumped into one of the power heads on the side of the tank. And then I'm going to fill it with the other bottle. So that is a Tetra. Now I'm doing Nano. And I'm going to fill it again the same amount, a little over half, somewhere in the 15 to 20 mark. And that's going to go into the power head on the other side of the tank. And then I'm going to use the Sustainable Aquatics one. This has multiple blends in there. Look at this one. About the same amount, 15 to 20, but look at this one. It is super, super dark, almost black. It is very concentrated. And I will tell you, if you use this one or you're new to using this one, it stinks. It smells like straight sulfur. So don't be surprised when you open it up if you get a strong sulfur smell. It does, and it always has for years. And I take this one, and some of it goes in my Kato hang-on back, some of it goes in my mechanical hang-on back, and then what's left over I just dump right into the filter as well, or the power head as well. All right, so why do I feed 4 different types of live phytoplankton? It's because each brings a little bit different benefit to my reef. So looking at the Nano here, it's a good source of nutrients, especially things like lipids, omega-3 fatty acids, the EPA omega-3 fatty acids. And that can help improve water quality by consuming nitrates, phosphates, and heavy metals. So looking at this guy, PT is rich in essential nutrients such as omega-3 fatty acids, EPA, and helps reduce nitrates and phosphates, even potentially helping control nuisance algae by outcompeting it. All right, so looking at our SP here, it's a good source of nutrients for invertebrates, things like rotifers, copepods, and it can help improve water quality by absorbing excess nutrients like ammonia, nitrogen, and phosphorus. Looking at Tetra here, so Tetra is a readily consumed food source. Things like corals, sponges, fan worms, those types of things consume this, as well as it's a good source of lipids. It's a good source of amino acids and omega-3 fatty acids, both EPA and DHA, which are essential for coral health and coloration. All right, so I also add live copepods. I add 3 different types, Apex, Tiger, and Tisbe. I add 3 16-ounce bottles every 6 months, and I just dump the entire 16-ounce bottles in at one time. I don't do a little over time. It just gets one big plug every 6 months. All right, so why feed 3 different types of live copepods? Same thing with the phytoplankton. They just bring different things to the tank. Looking first here at the tiger pods. Their size is 1,000 to 1,500 microns. They're a good natural live food source for finicky fish. You know, first thing that comes to mind is like a mandarin. They consume detritus and microfilm algae that can accumulate on your glass. Then we have apex. They're 600 to 700 microns. They're also a great food source for things such as finicky fish, invertebrates, corals, SPS, LPS, NPS, and they consume detritus and film algae. Then lastly here we have Tisbe. Tisbe is between 50 and 100 microns, so considerably smaller. We went from 1,500 down to minimum of 50. And they are a great food source for finicky fish, invertebrates, corals, including NPS, LPS, SPS, and they consume dead organic matter like uneaten food, algae, and decaying plant matter. All right, so hopefully you liked this video. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Hopefully this helps you figure out the best way to dose and feed your SPS-dominated tank. Again, give me a like, give me a subscribe, check out some more of my content, and I'll get more out soon. Thanks, guys.